guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than, well, I think all my videos are just a little bit different. But today I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to give you some advice. I've been getting some questions recently from my younger viewers, and I think that is super, super cool. But the questions usually fall along the lines of, what kind of advice, what kind of skincare and anti-aging advice would you give for younger generations? And I have some really good anti-aging advice. It's not the typical advice that you're used to hearing, which is wear your sunscreen, use your, products with retinol and stuff like that, even though those are extremely important, especially the sunscreen one. But this advice is just going to be something that I wish that somebody would have told me whenever I was growing up, because sometimes we don't realize that some of the things that we do on a regular basis are actually weakening our skin and just speeding up the aging process. So I'm going to start with the eyes. And the reason I'm going to start with the eyes is because the eyes are the first place to really show signs of aging. I'm sure you've heard that several times. And some of it is not within our control, volume loss. We can't help that. Once you lose the volume, the skin just kind of wants to sag down. But there are things that are within our control. And so my advice to younger generations, even, women in my demographic, I feel like we need to be a lot more gentle with the skin around our eyes. I wish somebody had told me this whenever I was younger, because I made a really big mistake. Whenever I was young and I would take off my mascara, I would always take a baby wipe and I would literally just pull on my eyelashes. But when you are pulling on your eyelashes, you're also pulling on your eyelid skin. And every time you pull on your eyelid skin, you're weakening the skin. And all you're doing is accelerating the aging process. Another thing that I see often is women who remove their eye makeup, their eyeshadow and stuff real aggressively. And I feel like we just really need to be gentle and really need to glide things across our eyes. I mean, there's ways to, the way that I do it is I take a Q-tip and I take some of the micellar water and I just glide the Q-tip over my eyes, over the tops of my eyes, so that it can kind of saturate the eyelids, and then I just gently pat it off. Or sometimes I will just take another clean Q-tip and just really lightly, and I really take my time, because that eyelid skin, when you're young, you don't really realize what you're doing because the skin isn't moving very much. It's still pretty tight and stuff. But anytime you do things repetitively, day after day after day, then it's definitely going to have an effect on your skin. And one of those things, like I said, is the way that we remove our makeup. Not even the way that we remove our makeup, but the way that we apply our makeup. The whole blending technique with eyeshadows and stuff, it looks beautiful. I mean, it really does. It looks very, very beautiful. But the whole time you're blending, I see women who put this really dark shade on, and then they sit there for 10 minutes and blend it out with a brush. And when you're young, like I said, you don't see all that skin moving. When you are old, it's literally, or when you're older and you have aging eyes, it's literally all you see is the skin moving back and forth and being pulled and tugged and swished around, And I try to compare it to kind of a rubber band. When you have a rubber band, the first few times, you start pulling it, it bounces back. After so many times, it no longer bounces back, and eventually it just snaps. And that's how our skin is. We have a finite number of times that we can stretch and pull and tug and scrunch and wrinkle and crease our skin before it just no longer bounces back, and we ruin the fibers that are beneath the skin that's pretty much, holding it together and encouraging it to bounce back. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to say, do I want the instant gratification of having this, makeup look exactly like I want it, or can I kind of tweak it and get the same kind of illusions and stuff without using that technique? There's going to be a lot of people that's like, no way, I'm never going to get away from that technique. But the way that I do it is that I will, apply eyeshadow. I have a little bit on right now. And in order to soften up the edges so that it's not a severe transition, I just take like a bone color and I place a little bit on top. And I do a lot of patting. I take it with a brush and I just do a lot of patting rather than the whole just swishing and pulling your skin. Another thing that I see often is women who put eyeliner on their waterline. They do a lot of pulling down on their skin. Once again, you're doing that day after day after day, and you're damaging your skin by doing that. Also pulling it to the side to apply your eyeliner. Again, just those repetitive motions are only going to damage your skin. They're not going to keep it youthful. And I feel like our goal is to kind of be as youthful as we can and look as youthful as we can for as long as we can. That's my goal anyways. You know, I just kind of want to, I'm not trying to look 20. I have clear telltale signs of a woman in my age bracket. You know, I'm 44 years old. And so, you know, you can tell just by certain areas of my face and the condition of my skin in certain areas of my face, particularly the eyes. And so I'm not fooling anybody, and nor am I trying to look 20, but I do want to look the best that I can for the age that I am right now. And I think that's most of our goals. You know, I don't know that anybody who's sitting around sitting there going, man, I really wish I could speed up this aging process. I want to look older as fast as I can. Like, I don't think anybody's sitting around saying that. I got a comment that was like, oh my gosh, it's like you're so afraid to age. And I'm like, it's not that I'm afraid to age, I just don't like it. I mean, there's nothing about the physical aging process that I like. I love other parts of the aging process. I love the wisdom and the better understanding of life in general. I love kids. I love the idea of having grandkids. I love those things in life. But as far as the physical changes that the aging process brings, there's absolutely nothing about it that I like. And so I don't know if that's offensive to anybody, but it shouldn't be. You know, I feel like everybody would like to remain and have really nice skin and tight skin, and rather than have to, you know, do all these tricks to appear like we do. You know what I mean? So, so hopefully nobody's gonna get offended by this. I really don't think so. I think we're all in this boat together. I think we all, if you're watching this video, you know, then you're probably somebody who would rather not age fast, you know? So anyways, another piece of advice that I would offer, and this has to do with the skin on your face and your eyes also, is to learn how to sleep on your back. You don't realize, once again, you know, it's something that you do every single day. I'll never forget whenever I was younger, a woman was telling me, and she did give me this advice, but when we're young, sometimes we just want the instant gratification. We don't look to the future and say, oh, you know, this could help in the future. You know, we're just like, I remember whenever I was young, every single doctor that I ever went to was like, you need to start wearing sunblock, stop tanning. And I was like, what? Everybody looks better with a tan. You know, that's how naive and ridiculous I was in my thinking about it. And they kept saying, you know, you're going to pay for it later. You're going to pay for it later. You're going to have sunspots. To me, later was just so far away that I was just like, I want to be tan now, you know, it looks better. But so that was ridiculous. But I do remember a woman telling me, she said, you know, be careful not to sleep on your face. Everybody typically sleeps on one side, you know, prefers one side over the other. And she was like, look at my face. And she's like, can you tell that this side has aged more than this side? And I could. And I can see that in myself. You know, I can see that one side of my face has aged a little bit faster than the other side, and I have a feeling it's because I've always slept on that side of my face. But when you sleep on your side, you're not only causing damage to the skin on your face, you're also causing damage to the skin on your chest, because oftentimes, you know, our arms are together, and a lot of times you'll see women that are older, there's a lot of creases and stuff between their breasts, and that's probably from side sleeping. So, you know, that's another thing. I try to sleep on my back as often as I can, but sometimes I just cannot go to sleep unless I'm sleeping on my side. So what I do is my favorite types of pillows are these ones that are just really, really squishy, and you can just, that are really, really squishy, and you can just mold, you know, the way that you want. And I will really tuck it up under here, under my neck, and kind of between my boobs, so that I'm really still comfortable. I'm not smushing my face, but I'm on my side, and I still have support, you know, with my pillow. So I wish I could show you, but I don't know how I'm going to do that right now. Anyways, I'm sure you could imagine, you know, what I just described. Okay, so another thing, and we're going to go down to the neck. Another piece of advice that I would give younger generations, and all generations really, is be very mindful of the skin on your neck. I feel like sometimes our necks and our chests are overlooked. I know that I overlooked my neck for a very long time. I was always really pretty good about pampering the skin on my face, but then I neglected my neck and my chest. I soon started to go, whoa, I really need to start addressing my neck. And then it wasn't until like 5 or 10 years later that I was like, wow, I need to start taking care of my chest. And so anyways, whatever you do to your face, you should probably also do to your neck and your chest. Now, I know some products like Retin-A are really expensive. I don't typically take my Retin-A all the way down to my chest. I probably should. But there are different products that I do put on my chest. high concentrations of glycolic acid. That is the way that I've been addressing my chest recently. But aside from putting products on your neck to, moisturize and do some sort of repair, you should also be very mindful of the way that you lay in bed at night. I have noticed that now that, there's all this technology and we all have mobile devices and iPads and laptops and everything else, we sit in our bed and oftentimes I'm almost laying flat on my back, but my head is completely bent like this and I have my phone. And all you're gonna do when you are laying in those positions is deepen the lines on your neck. And you don't wanna do that, Sometimes you can really tell the age of a woman just by the condition of her neck and chest. So you really need to really take care of your neck and chest, and just like you do your face. Another piece of advice that I would give to anybody who wants to kind of slow down the aging process is don't wear heavy towels on your head when you get out of the shower. I know most of us, we like those really plush, big towels, and I do too, but I keep a lot of the really small, very, very thin ones that you can buy at like Walmart, and I use those for my hair. And the reason why is because I've noticed, and especially as I've gotten older, this is not something that ever occurred to me whenever I was younger, but now that I'm older, when I put one of those heavy towels on my head, it literally, and most of us women that are in our 40s, we love the way we look with the heavy towel on our head because it literally like gives us a mini facelift. I'm not even joking. It's so great. All of a sudden we have these beautiful eyelids and this really tight forehead. But once again, you're doing something every single day and you're stretching skin, and that's not what we want to do. So I would suggest not using heavy towels. I mean, there was a time when I was young, I would have a towel in my head and I would keep it in my head the entire time I was putting on my makeup. And then I would take my hair down and start addressing my hair. But that's not a good idea. Like I said, you're just stretching your forehead skin and your eyelid skin. So I would suggest not doing that. That would be my piece of advice. So another piece of advice that I would offer is to take care of your lips. I know that as you get older, you really start to notice the little fine lines around your lips, and it just makes our lips look not youthful, nobody wants lines around their mouth. And one thing that I really do, that I've done all my life for a very, very long time, is go to bed with chapstick on my lips. Oftentimes when we go to bed, we're usually under some sort of a fan, and all that's doing is drying out your skin and your lips. So what you want to do is you want something to create a barrier so that the air isn't damaging, the skin on our lips and the skin on our face. With the lips, one thing that I would suggest is shea butter. I like to put on shea butter because it's pretty thick and it's almost like as thick as kind of a chapstick. It really has to kind of soften up a little bit with the heat, and then you can put it on. And then I top that off with chapstick because I really, chapstick is just really good at locking in the moisture and not letting any moisture out. So that's a good way to take care of your lips. Another thing is be mindful of how often you suck out of straws. It never even really occurred to me, and I was reading recently somewhere where it was saying, and also somebody mentioned it in their video. It was one of the first videos that I ever watched. Who was it? It was Rockstar Mom. She had mentioned this in a video one time that using straws and drinking out of a straw creates lines around your mouth just as smoking cigarettes would, because it's the same motion that you're using. And so you need to be mindful of that. If you can, and I'm really bad at that too, because I prefer drinking out of a straw. I know, I don't know, I just feel like it's cleaner or something like that. But that does definitely contribute to aging lips. So the last piece of advice that I would give is to try to exfoliate at least once or twice a week. I think that is very, very important, especially if you're using any type of, skincare products, because when your skin is exfoliated, you're gonna have deeper penetration of those products. And that is the goal. You really want the ingredients in those products to reach the deeper layers of the skin so that they're in there doing some sort of repair. That's our goal. We wanna try to just slow down the aging process. And the best way to do that is to really, really pamper our skin. And one of the ways to pamper our skin is to apply products to freshly exfoliated skin. That's when you're gonna reap the most benefits from that product. So that's the advice that I would give, 20, 30, even 40, all the way up, Like I said, some things are not within our control as far as the aging process is concerned, but those things that are, we might as well stay mindful of them and stay aware of them and really try to increase our odds of keeping youthful skin as long as we can. And those are just some things that I wish that somebody would have told me whenever I was younger. All the other ones are pretty obvious. You know, I've got so many videos here on my channel about skincare and different ingredients that you should look for, you know, and so you can check out those videos. But this was just kind of a video that I really wanted to put out that I don't think most people think about when it comes to the aging process. And I think that if we were a little bit more careful, a little bit more gentle with our skin and did not, you know, contribute to the aging process, then we're gonna stay younger looking longer. And I think that's kind of the goal. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe on the way out. And I'll see you next time. Bye.